When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape.
To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts.
Like brakes and batteries.
I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service.
And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time.
Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Everybody, to another edition of the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti, joined by Ed Nunez. We have Alden Iowani, our fine director. We're going to go a lot of directions here today, and man, a lot of stuff going on. Where do we start, Ed Nunez?
You know what? We were talking to Dana Childs, who does the highlights for us for Lobo basketball, and heard you having a conversation about the game at Air Force on Saturday, and that's certainly one place to start. Lobo's given up 100 points at Colorado Springs, and their first game, hopefully their last game without Joe Furtstinger. And I have to ask, would we have thought before the season started that he would make such an impact that they'd miss him that bad? And I've apologized profusely more than once because he's really got the most out of his talent, more than any Lobo that I've ever seen in a long time. And one of the things that Dana showed me when he was doing highlights one time, he stopped him on a dunk, and Furtstinger has put the work in the weight room. He showed me that. He's really bulked up, and he's put in a lot of work. And I don't know that he could have stopped how many of those, layups are. But he does have a defensive presence. He is somewhat their rim protector, and you wouldn't have thought that before the season started. So it's obvious how bad they missed him. I mean, when I saw the score, you and I were going back and forth again, texting each other, and I was really, really disappointed. I thought they could get that win there, even without him.
Right.
And one of the things that's been asked, and J.J. Buck at 6'10", who does the call-in show, I heard him yesterday, and he asked, and he said the questions being asked on the show are, has Coach Weir lost the Lobos, and it's their annual February slide. I don't think he has. I don't. I never even thought that, but JJ has been getting, I asked him on Saturday, are you getting more calls? Because at the beginning of the year, you and I talked about it, he wasn't getting that many calls. And now that the Lobos are winning, he said expectations arose, and all of a sudden the lines are lighting up. And you Lobo fans, man, you already know how they are, and, and I asked JJ one time, I said, why do you think they are the way they are? Because, and I'm one of them too, but I'm not to the extreme where I'm saying some guy's a well-paid conditioning coach, things like that. And he said, this is his opinion, and, you got to take his opinion. He's on the air, man. He hears these calls. he feels like it's one of those things where people can say, "Oh, I told you, I got you, I told you it was going to be like that."
Right.
Gosh, I hate fans I hate that. I do.
Right.
Because you know what? We got to give Scott Galletti a chance. He's in that chair, right? We got to give Paul Weir a chance. We had him here last March, and right away the likability is off the charts. Now we can like people, but they still have to win, right? So I don't know. That's my take, and at least for Saturday's game, and they got Utah State here on Thursday. And
Wednesday,
that's an important
actually.
game. Yeah, I'm sorry.
The day that we're airing the show, actually. So yeah, it'll be that day.
Have they played over their heads? You and I talked about this before. Now, what did I expect before the season? Did I expect 20 to 20 plus wins? No. Anything that I told you this, any win that they get to me is a bonus. Any win. It's hard to win anyway. So when they win, even against Prairie State or whoever, I'm happy.
Right.
And I'm looking forward again. I'm an optimist. I may be the glass half full when it's half empty. Yes, that's true. So that's my little quick take on it. It wasn't quick, but there it is.
Well, and we'll definitely talk about that Air Force game, and we're also going to show some Boise State highlights, which arguably could have been the best game defensively, especially in the first maybe, 60 minutes of that game?
Yes.
Or not 60, 30 of the 40 minutes.
Yes, fair assessment.
Probably the best 32 minutes a couple of people and I have been talking about defensively, but then it all broke down. But, the big story breaking, and we didn't have a chance to break down that Boise State game after we did the show last weekend. That's where we're going to show the highlights of that as well. But it's one of those situations that kind of came out of the blue where Bob Davie suspended. And no one in this town knows what to think about it, including myself, because to me it came out of nowhere. I mean, a lot of people said, oh, it might happen, but without pay, to me, when I heard Joe O'Neill talking about that with Mike Bird on the radio last week when Joe was filling in for Bob Brown, I was stunned that they would suspend him without pay, because that means there has to be something in the report that would warrant that. Otherwise, they're setting themselves up for a huge, and I mean huge, lawsuit.
Well, they still could be. They still could be. I think one of the
they could be, but on the other hand, they could have something up their sleeve that no one publicly knows for the reasoning. And if you look at the report, there's a lot of Sharpie on that report.
A lot of redactions.
Yeah, but they see the non-redacted part, and that's what I believe they're basing a lot of their stuff from.
Meanwhile, and you can't discount this either, Bob Davie's still at practice going forward as if things are normal. So I don't know.
And a lot of people feel that's how he should.
Right. We don't know what's again. You and I talked about this. There's sources and there's here's the thing that I don't get or I don't understand, and from a practical standpoint, if people had seen or heard these things, I'm not saying or they were said or not said, I don't know. They didn't interview Coach Davie. That was kind of interesting to me. If he said those things, obviously the suspension, the 30-day without pay is warranted. If it's more than that, but that's what I mean. We don't know.
And I'm one of the people that agrees with. I've talked to a lot of people. I've heard people who are supposedly in the know that have gone on shows and said what they think. I don't think it has anything to do with what was said. I think it has to do with the investigations.
And I think one of the things going forward, Hector Balderas, the the state auditor,
Attorney General
now, former state auditor, now is the Attorney General, said that his investigation, he was still going to investigate more. So I guess there's we'll see what happens out of that. I hate to really say anything more than that because Coach Davie still has due process.
Right.
We all have due process when you're accused of that. I'm a big fan, but I hate to say anything more because I really I don't know anything more than what that report said, and I read some of it, but I'm not the kind of person that was going to pile on for somebody that I don't know fully about. Now
you can't pile on one way or another.
Right.
The only thing that I have to believe just from seeing, because I was wondering, well, who's redacting this? And I've got to believe it's the people that are in the investigation redacting. And there's some lines that led to stuff that no one from the outside can see, but they can see. And if there's anything remotely that broke Bob Davie's contract, then they have something. Otherwise, they don't. This is going to get messy.
And I think there's I said this to you the other day too, that I think, we'll see. The next couple of months will definitely tell us. Their spring ball is starting. They don't play till September, so I think we'll have an answer, or not, in the next couple of months. But here's what I said, and I said this even before this investigation started, that UNM Athletic Director Eddie Nunez, I'm telling you that he comes from the SEC, that, and if anything happens, you don't think he already has 5 names in his mind. If something happened, that to hit the ground running, inevitably, Mr. Nunez will have to put his stamp on something UNM athletics anyway. Krebs did it, Rudy Davalos did it, Mr. McDonald did it. I can't remember. Peter McDonald did it back in the days. So everyone has put their stamp on Lobo athletics. He's kind of in the background now, but I'm telling you, if anything does happen, of course he's got
I didn't want to go there originally, Ed, because there's already been people that have alleged that. They're doing this because Nunez, who, by the way, has been staying away from all this, and I think they've been keeping him from reports away from this, may want his own guy. So, I mean, again, I don't want to get into the speculating. I know you're not speculating. You're bringing up a good point because who doesn't want their own guy?
It's true. Okay, so you come in and you see the program, and the program has had some, I'm talking about the football program, has had some success. They didn't have so much last year. They're 3-9, and injuries and offensive line problems and continuity and chemistry just didn't come together. So you come in and you hear this on the outside, you're like, and you're definitely thinking ahead of anyway. Now look, Coach Davey, he's 62. He's coached here 8 years. He did ESPN commentating for 10. He coached at Notre Dame. He lives in Scottsdale half the year anyway. So I don't know how long he's in for it anyway. Let's say he goes next year and they win 8 games and he goes to another bowl. Hopefully it's maybe it's the New Mexico Bowl, maybe it's another bowl. You know what? He's bringing in a lot of. You know what? I'm really excited about the offensive coordinator. He's bringing in from Arizona. But let's just say Coach, and then Coach Davey says, well, I think that's it. I think I'm done. And we don't know where all this is going anyway. He might say, hey, look, I'm not very happy with the way it was. We don't know. But
that was the other thing that shocked a lot of people that we haven't had a chance to talk about because we didn't have shows for one reason or another. My illness had a lot to do with that, is the fact that they let out of the blue, they let Bob DeBest go. Now, within a week, he had a job. He was at Georgia Southern, but they let him go, and that was kind of a surprise to a lot of people because it was his offense that allowed the Lobos to be good in the first place. Well, when he came in, I told you I was a little skeptical about the triple option, but it ate up yards, possessions, time of possession. Terrell Owens, and we had some really Jarrell Presley, Terrion Gibson. We had some good explosive backs here. Not so much last year. So look, when it happens, and it's not going to be the head guy. The head guy is going to say, well, let me get one of the assistants and change that. I think Coach DeBest did a great job here. I think Coach McGee from Arizona, I'm really looking forward to what he's going to bring. He's going to do the triple option, run the triple option. Yeah, it sounds like he's going to be more diverse with the triple option, which is exciting. Got 20 quarterbacks. I don't know who you're going to play. It seems like you got 20. Maybe not 20, but it seems like every day they got more than they have. And you know what? That's a good thing, the way the quarterbacks have gone down with injuries. Maybe having more is better. I'm telling you, that kid from Tennessee intrigues me, the transfer from Tennessee. He's not coming here. He played at Tennessee a little bit. He's not coming here to sit on the sideline. No. So I don't know. Anyway, I think going forward, regardless of what happens, Coach Davey isn't long for the job anyway. That's just my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll take a break right now. Then we'll delve into the Lobo basketball team's ventures here in the last week. We'll take a break now, and we'll talk first about the Dream Style Top 10 Plays of the Week on the Sports Desk.
Terrazas in a run with it. Terrazas fakes the pass, finishes on the right hand.
Oh, what a shot. Oh, what a strong take inside.
Here's the handoff to Madrid underneath. What are they going to call? A block, so count it.
This is where Zeller's so tough right here when he takes it to the hole.
Zeller all the way in the left hand. There you go. Tough drive, and he finished. At the board, he's going to run out with it. Quickly a 2-on-2. Quintana, yes! A circus shot from Tyler Quintana. He changed his mind last moment. Domina Lovato's going to go on the left hand. He doesn't change his mind and beats the buzzer. Here's some time. Chavez beats the buzzer, goes high window, and he gets it.
Back to him.
Here's Phillips. Oh, and there's some room for Manzano. Manzano's going to go high off the window, and he finishes.
There he was.
Now it is to Anthony Chavez. Chavez for three, and the win. Yes! He got it! Anthony Chavez beats the buzzer! Unbelievable.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food, plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
And we are back here on the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti, joined by Alden Iowani, our director, and of course, co-host Ed Nunez, as we are talking a lot of sports. We will get back. We kind of touched on it before, Ed. We'll get back into the Lobos last week. We'll start out with the toughest game of the week. They were both tough, both losses, but arguably the best defensive game the Lobos played in 32 minutes last week. They kept Boise State out of what they wanted to do. They kept them from shooting threes, which Boise likes to shoot threes, and they had a big lead, and unfortunately for them, they ended up giving up that lead. But this is a guy, Chandler Hutchison, had a big game. Sam Logwood made a return, and a lot of people have mixed opinions about that. I happen to think he's the best player on the team.
He's the best athlete, there's no doubt about that. He gives them a lot when he's in there.
McQuatch Malawatch had 5 points, and then Joe Furstinger, who would be a big story at the end of the game, 8.7 rebounds, but the Lobos rolled out to a big lead at halftime. They had an 11-point lead as Dane Kuiper had one of his best scoring games in a long time. A lot of people were predicting that going into that game.
Came out of a slump and shot well. He sure did. Played good. He's played good defense the whole season.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Lobos were getting dunks, and Troy Simons chipped in there. He had 6 points, and there you see the halftime score. It was 40-29. But then, Ed, turnovers reared their ugly head, and this is what kind of started the floodgates, and, of course, layups and dunks.
That helps, or doesn't help.
Well, it doesn't help the Lobos, but the Lobos stayed in there with 3-pointers, and Anthony Jackson had a big game with 10 points, 2 of 7 from the field, 2 of 6 from three-point range, and then you had Anthony Mathis. You talk about a guy who's had the hot hand. He's been the most consistent.
You know, if you think about it, Barry got off the bench last year and a nice pick and roll there to Furstinger. Yeah, Mathis has played exceptionally well all season long. He really has. Oh, missed free throws hurt too. They really did.
Yeah, and that didn't happen really until the second half, and then Boise was collecting all the rebounds, and then Mathis again on a big three, and he would miss there, and then you had a couple of layups by Boise State. That one simply just a Boise State player, Sengfelder, taking the ball away, and then Mathis misses, and then you have a dunk, and that would make it a 1-point game, and then it would be the lead for Boise State, and there you see Furstinger with the shove at the end.
Well, you know what, and what happened, and Coach Weir was, you know, look at the security guys with the pit going out there to break that up. But Coach Weir was very apologetic. He wasn't happy with Furstinger. And here's the thing, a lot of people are going to ask, as an official, was that a basketball play? Did he make a play for the ball? No, he didn't. He came up above the shoulders, you know, kind of hit him around the head area, so that's an automatic. I thought the conference made the right call in suspending him for one game. I was kind of, you know, I think I even asked you, I wonder if Coach Weir will add a game to that. He didn't. He felt that was enough, you know, for the punishment that he received. But you know, near the end of the game, here's the thing. I knew Boise State had one more run. You and I were texting back and forth that game, and I thought
it seemed like they didn't have a run the entire game. Then all of a sudden they had it in that second half.
But a veteran team that knows how to win, and you know the Lobos aren't there yet. And you know they always talk about the Lobo press, and they were pressed, and they didn't know how to handle it. And a trap at the end on Mathis was.
I was just going to say that was the one play that we didn't have a highlight on, and that probably was the biggest play of the game, only because the commentators on TV were talking about that. That was the first time they trapped the entire game. And they trapped at that point, forced the turnover and the uncontested layup by Hutchinson, who had that slam dunk before to pull him within one. So he made the final 4 points to close out that game, but that one was huge.
Well, think about where the trap is coming from. It's right there. They're trapping with 2 bigs. Mathis throws the ball back to the middle. Hutchinson takes it away and comes in for an easy layup. So, you know, the Lobos, they talked about the press that the Lobos have put on, and at the end, they didn't handle the pressure very well. I'm not surprised, though. They hadn't been in that situation, and they didn't handle it well. Going forward, they will the next time. I wasn't real mad. My son was mad for 2 days. I got kind of over that right away because I figured, hey, they hadn't seen that situation. They didn't handle it well. Next time they learn from it, and they'll get better.
Perhaps the worst loss after that was the loss at Air Force. Of course, they were playing without Joe Furstinger, but the Lobos gave up 100 points to a middle-of-the-road at best Mountain West team. And the numbers don't lie, Ed, and this was very scary. This was the most layups at the Lobos, and I say layups and dunks because most of them were actually dunks. 25 layups or dunks for Air Force. This is probably the smallest team in the conference, and they're dunking left, right, and sideways against the Lobo defense. And then the Lobos had 14 three-pointers. 9 of those were in the first half when they took a big lead. And then only 5 three-pointers for Air Force. Air Force 23 makes out of 26 attempts at the line. 22 of 28 for the Lobos, kind of a wash on the free throws. But the points in the paint was just dreadful.
Beyond dreadful. And I think one of the things that I want to mention, I think Air Force scored
56 points in the paint, by the way, for Air Force.
Yeah, that is really
on 25 layups or dunks.
Layups and dunks, you know.
So that means maybe 3 shots were, or 4 shots were maybe 5 feet or beyond.
So it's a free-for-all. It's a free-for-all. And I think one of the things is Air Force scored 58 up here, right? I think the Lobos, they limited them to 58 up here in Albuquerque.
They scored 54 in the second half.
So, and Vladimir Pinchuk had come back, and they thought he might be able to give the Lobos some, in rim protection and size underneath. He only played 7-8 minutes, so he really didn't contribute. And he's a freshman. He had a concussion. He missed a lot of practice. And those practice reps, mean a lot. They really do. So they were without any kind of real size underneath without Furtstinger. And like I said, we never would have said this before the season started, that if Furtstinger was out, the Lobo interior defense would fall apart the way it did on Saturday. We never would have thought that, and it did. So, you know what gets me, though? And I know Coach Weir was probably going to do this. When you go back and look at the film, never lies, Scott. You know that. So they go back and watch the tape, and they're seeing guys just dunk and layup after layup. You're running, you're running hills, you're running stairs, whatever he's got you doing, because Coach Weir has taken pride. They had a good defensive performance against Boise State, and it all falls apart on Saturday in Colorado Springs.
Yeah. Last thing on the Lobos, Ed, the good news is listening to a lot of folks talking about their schedule, and I heard Lee Faria talk about this also recently. Of the 5 games, they're all winnable, and that starts tonight, Wednesday night, against Utah State.
That's the good thing. Utah State beat the Lobos up in Logan, I believe, a couple weeks ago. And Coach Weir said this, too. I saw him on the news yesterday. They're back at full strength with their roster. Vladimir Pinchuk's back. Ja'Kai Simons is back. Simmons, he's back. He had gone back to Philadelphia to deal with the death in his family. Troy Simons off that suspension. Furtstinger's back. So I think that's good. You need they called themselves the Nasty Nine for several weeks, and now they have a little bit more depth. And like I said, we'll see what happens. It's going to be tough to get into the tournament. Obviously, I'm still holding out hope. The other tournament that they have, you have to pay to get in. I wouldn't see the Lobos doing that, but UNM Athletic Director Eddie Nunez may say, "Hey, look, if they're trending upward, why not?"
The one thing about those tournaments that I read, and I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but I read the CBI and the other tournaments, you have to be at least 500 to get in. If that's the case, then the Lobos have to get 500. Otherwise, that's a moot point. We know the NIT isn't going to come calling, because if one of the teams above them, especially the team that wins the conference, doesn't make it into the NCAA, they're automatically in the NIT.
Right.
Just like if New Mexico State were to fall out of the WAC, as long as they win the regular season title, they're guaranteed an NIT berth.
Well, and they're trending upward near the top 25.
I mean, they could still get bumped off in the tournament, in the WAC tournament, but last year they were a second-place team, so they lost and they were out completely. This year, if they win the conference, then they automatically get invited to the NIT.
Well, the good thing about the Lobos is they're hovering around 500. They're 2 games under 500 right now. So hopefully they can get to 500, and we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, 2 below with an up-and-down schedule. 2 games that are going to be very interesting, and they're right with each other in the standings, Fresno State and UNLV.
Right. We'll have to see. Again,
because right now it's all about getting that top 5 spot and not having to play that extra game, so everyone's going to be motivated, because nobody wants to play that extra game.
You're right. It's not going to be an easy road. Nothing's been easy for these Lobos at all. Think about all the things they've gone through, all the adversity they went through in Paul Weir's first year. So none of it's going to be easy.
Let's take a look now at some of the high school polls here, and we'll start with the girls' hoops in 3A as we segue into the high school portion of the program here. And you got Texaco still on top for the second week in a row on the girls' side. Tehachapi, Tucumcari, Eunice, and Tularosa. The middle of the pack kind of went back and forth, but no change at the top.
Well, Texaco grabbed that #1 spot last week, and the team that I'm wondering where Tierra Encantada even is. That's a school that was in the top 10 for a while, and they dropped out. They're about number 11. But Texaco, as we mentioned, they've been a formidable opponent in 3A girls basketball for a while, and they've grabbed the #1 spot for the second week in a row.
Quickly, we'll go through the 4A poll. And on the 4A poll, Portales still with the #1 spot. Robertson, Shiprock, Moriarty, and Santa Fe Indian School. They round out the top 5. We will look at the District 4 standings now in 4A. And you see Portales still undefeated at 5-0, 22-2 overall.
I think they're coming in tonight to play the Hope Christian Huskies. So yeah, look at their record, and think about it. They've been hovering around the championship bracket in 4A for many years now.
District 5 now in 4A looks as follows, as you have Santa Fe Indian. They're trending up. They're 20-4, 6-0. Bosque at 4-2, Bernalillo at 4-3. But Santa Fe Indian School, I wanted to talk about, Ed, because it seems like every week that we've talked about them, we've watched them progress in the overall poll.
And when you mentioned Santa Fe Indian, I just think about that beautiful gymnasium they get to play in when they play home games. Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, I'm still blown away of how nice that place. That's an arena. It's not a gym. It's an arena.
So right.
It's an amazing place up in Santa Fe, and it's amazing that a 4A school that formerly was a 3A school, because you go through their trophy case, they have a ton of 3A blue trophies and red trophies.
Oh, okay, that's right. I forgot about that. They were 3A for a while.
I didn't know that until I was up there, actually,
right.
But a lot of their trophies are 3A. 5A now, we will look at the poll, and in 5A, it looks as follows. Los Lunas still at number 1, Bloomfield still at number 2, St. Pius up to number 3, Kirtland number 4, and Gallup number 5. Artesia and Miramur are kind of sticking around.
Pius climbing. They were at number 5 a couple weeks ago, and as I mentioned, Maya Trujillo, the junior guard, has started to feel better each week, and you can tell, I think she had 17 in the game last Friday, I believe, and they're starting to, they're climbing right there. Bloomfield and Los Lunas, I believe, have been 1 and 2 for several weeks now.
A look at 5A, District 2, and you've got Espanola Valley at 12-11, 5-1. Capital, they're 4-2, 4-3 is Del Norte.
Well, you know what? Espanola Valley went through a coaching change mid-season. With the girls there, and they're still doing pretty well in district. And sometimes when you go through a coaching change like that mid-season, it wrecks everything. And they're still hanging in there pretty tough at the top spot in District 2.
District 5 in 5A looks as follows, and it's Los Lunas 6-0, 5-2 is St. Pius, 3-3 Belen.
Pius and Los Lunas definitely the class of that district. Belen kind of hovering around. They're at 500, 3-3. But Pius, look at Los Lunas 6-0, 22-2. Pius 5-2 and 16-6. Pretty solid records.
And we'll take a break. Look at more here on the Sports Desk out of the break.
Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
I want to congratulate our first customers at our brand new facility right here at Gala Chevrolet, the Jose's. And how was your experience?
It was awesome and great.
What'd you end up buying?
We bought a 2018 Chevy Silverado.
And how would you say the experience was overall?
I bought all my cars here at Gala Chevrolet, and we couldn't wait for the new facility to open, and all the people really treated us well.
Well, on behalf of Gala Chevrolet, we say thank you, and we'll see you soon right here at Gala Chevrolet.
Hoops NM Basketball Center is coming soon. 10 full courts broken into 2 wings for ultimate basketball and volleyball play. Locker rooms, a lounge area, a pro shop, and a full snack bar will all be a part of a great experience.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
And welcome back here to the Sports Desk. Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez. Alden Iowani, our fine director. He's the one that pushes all the buttons and makes things go. And speaking of going, we're going to move on here with the girls' polls. 6A we're going to go. And in 6A, you got West Mesa still at number 1, followed by Cibola, Hobbs, Carlsbad, and Las Cruces. And when we get into the standings, Ed, you'll see why Las Cruces has fallen all the way down to number 5.
Wow, and they started out so well. You know, Coach Abney does such a great job there, and I'm surprised that they've kind of slumped a little bit. I like their energy. They're such they play within the team concept so well. So I'm kind of surprised. You know, the other end of that, you've got Cibola and Rio Rancho for the big district matchup on Thursday, and I still say Rio Rancho's a couple of guards short from competing against a team like Cibola. We'll see. They lost the first game at Cibola a couple weeks ago. So Rio Rancho head coach Scott Peterson definitely looking for some revenge there.
Take a look now at the District 1 standings in 6A, and we see Cibola 7-0, 22-1, Rio Rancho 19-5, 5-1, and Volcano 2-2, 11-11.
And Lisa Villarreal has won 2 championships, 3, I believe. She's
right.
A very good coach, very good coach, and one with different teams, a different kind of talent. You know, and you know they're having kind of a mediocre season, but that doesn't erase the great things that she's done there, and she'll do again. You know, when I think of them, I think of Daisha Battle. I think of you know how small Daisha Battle was, but how good she was.
Right.
Boy, that girl had some heart.
Yes,
I couldn't believe that she could score the way she. I was like, there's no way she's going to get in that gap and score, and she'd do it and steal the ball.
She'd always do everything you thought she couldn't.
Yeah. Anyway, at least Coach Villarreal has done a great job there, and you know, I was kind of surprised at the Storm at 0-7 because they started out well. Susan Kabbalah, the coach there, had them starting out real well, but they've really slumped in the second half of the season. I'm surprised. Take a look at District 2 now in 6A, and District 2 looks as follows. El Dorado is 8-0, La Cueva 6-2, and you've got 5-3 Clovis. Sandia, injury-ravaged Sandia, the defending champs. Boy, they've had a lot of injuries to one of the Broussard girls, to Cumber, the guard, the freshman guard. It just crippled them. I don't even know if Marisol Silva's still out there. I've been looking at the box scores, and I haven't seen her name, so she might be hurt. And that's one of my favorite players in town because of the way she plays. So Lee Kettig just really had a lot of injuries this year. I told you, and I mentioned this earlier, Scott, to keep an eye on El Dorado. Undefeated in district, 17-5 overall. Yep. Can they play with West Mesas and you know the people at the Cibolas? You know, can they play with them? And I think they can. They came very close to beating both those teams earlier. Right. And you know what, Coach Harbin again, first year, came from Valley, and the girls are still getting used to him. But it's paid. Look at district record, 8-0, 17-5 overall. 5 of those losses, at least 3 of them were by 2 points or less.
Right.
So I think Coach Harbin has them trending upward at a very good time.
No, absolutely. Let's look at District 3 now, and you'll see why things changed a little bit. Hobbs 9-1, Carlsbad 9-1, Las Cruces falling to 7-3 in district.
You look at the top there. You know, we've been mentioning this all year. Look at Hobbs and Carlsbad, and you know Carlsbad, I think came in here last year and were upset, and you know they expected big things from them. They didn't make a tournament final, but Las Cruces, 2 district losses and 3 losses overall, and George Maya has the Trojans still in the hunt at 6-4 and 16-8. But the top 3 teams in that district, wow, God, that is a dogfight every night, no doubt.
And District 4, no surprise here. West Mesa is the top spot at 8-0. Highland 6-2, still hanging around, and Atrisco is third at 4-4.
I believe Highland freshman Kaylee Crawford had a visit from a big college last week when she played a game. I'm not sure if Florida was out here. Somebody was out here watching her as a freshman. 6-2, 17-5
That's
overall.
not bad.
Not at all. She really has impressed me more and more. And, they returned some of their talent. But we said this. I just think they don't have enough to, West Mesa, I was watching them the other night on a replay, and they have guards that can break you down. One crossover, boom, boom, 2 crossovers usually gets somebody going in one direction. So they drive, they kick. Their basketball IQ is off the charts. That's a tough out. One of the players' fathers, Danny Castellano, Jaden Castellanos' father, and Danny Castellano back in the day was a fine ball player for Jim Holzman at Albuquerque High. We talked at Atrisco Heritage about 3 weeks ago, and he felt, and I told him, I said, wow, it's a tough team your daughter is playing with. He goes, they're going to be a tough out. And he's not wrong, because of the way they handle the ball and the way they shoot the ball and the way they pass the ball and the way they spread the floor. They're going to be a very tough out.
Let's switch over to the boys' side now. We'll go to 3A, the poll for 3A. And once again, Texaco on top, Estancia, Pecos, Santa Rosa, and Cuba round out the top 5.
Texaco, again, I think they've had that top spot for several weeks now. Cuba still remaining at number 5.
I want to say Texaco has been in the top spot since December.
Yeah, I think you're right. Pecos, we mentioned Ira Harge Jr., the coach out there, won a title last year, trying to repeat. They hadn't won one, as you mentioned, in 54 years. So no pressure there, Ira, none at all.
Yeah.
He's at number 3. So.
And I bring up Cuba because Cuba, I think, was number 10 last week. So they moved all the way to number 5.
Nice little climb there by the Rams. One of the, back in the day, you should have seen the Cuba tournament that we'd called there every year. And you would have loved it. Hospitality, team. Oh, man, we had a lot of fun going down to Cuba every year and calling that tournament. Sure did.
Now, 4A on the poll, got a preface. Manny Lucero informed me that there was a mix-up with the poll, so the actual poll is not coming out until later today, the day that we're filming. So this is last week's poll, so take it as you will, but Bernalillo pretty much should be at the top spot.
Special thanks to Manny Lucero for all he does for the show, and I know he gives you a lot of stats and he posts a lot of things, and Manny knows his stuff. He really does, and puts a lot of hard work into it. So again, Bernalillo, Terry Darnell, they've played well. One loss, I believe, all year, maybe 2. I think it's 1, but I think again.
Well, we'll see that answer in a second as we'll look at the standings here momentarily.
Okay, I think Coach Darnell has one eye open for that number 3 spot with the Hope Christian Huskies and Silver. But again, they got beat in the playoffs last year by the Huskies, and I know Coach Darnell has not forgot that.
District 4, and this is 4A, Hope Christian 6-0 still, Moriarty 5-2, and Portales 3-3.
9 straight wins for the Huskies, who are 7-7, and they wheeled off since the Hope tournament, which they won.
I got to interrupt here, Ed. We've talked about this every week. Nobody in 4A has beaten them yet.
No, they got beat by all 6A and maybe a 5A team in there, but yeah, nobody in 4A has beaten them, so that's why they still have to be considered, to me, the favorite until someone in 4A knocks them off.
I mean, last week they weren't even number 1, which is surprising, so we'll see what happens, but let's go to District 5 and 4A, and there you get your answer. 24-1 for Terry Darnell's team, 7-0 in District. Sandia Prep, they won a couple of games last week. They're up in 5-2 now.
One loss for Bernalillo, I believe, was to Belen. So Sandia Prep, under Coach Marcos Rivera, the former St. Pius assistant, he's had a really good first season. I'm real proud of him. He used to coach my son back in the day, and with Damian Segura, one of his chief assistants for over 10 years, helped Pius win a couple of state championships. I'd love to get him in studio one time. I'd love to have him in as a guest to see how he's rebuilt that Sun Devil program. But if you look at Bernalillo, wow, gosh, they've got size, speed, three-point shooters. So I don't care who they play in 4A, and it could be, could be the Huskies, but Bernalillo is not going to go down easily. They're not going to go down easily.
We'll move ahead now to 5A, and we'll look at the pool there. And speaking of Sun Devils, Espanola Valley still at number 1, Los Lunas number 2, Belen, Capital, and Roswell rounded out, but Espanola Valley is still the talk of that district and that division.
Talk of the town. Believe me, Espanola is a small town, and you go anywhere there, and you know how passionate they are about Sun Devil basketball. If they come to the pit here, they bring the whole town.
Yeah.
I remember when they played Roswell in the championship several years ago, man. And the pit, remember, they only sat 15,000, and they filled the whole place up. There was people waiting out in line.
Right.
Los Lunas beat Pius last Friday night, so the Sardins dropped to number 8. They had played well, but I told you, anytime Travis Julian and Damian Segura get together, wow, what a chess match that must have been. And the Tigers came out on top of that one, so they've split this year, and they've, Tigers have played very well. Zayn and Zeller, Nick Gerlin, they've got some very good players on that team, and they play within a system, within a very well-coached team. So we'll have to see how it all plays out, but give the Sun Devils credit under James Branch. And I said this before, Scott, Coach Branch has done a great job, and that kind of shadow of former head coach Richard Martinez is kind of lessening with every victory, although Coach Martinez lives there. And it's hard, it's where he's from. He's won championships for Espanola, and they expect a lot out there. They expect a lot as far as winning.
District 2 in 5A looks as follows. You got Espanola at 6-0. Del Norte up to 5-2. They're 10-13 overall, but doing well in district.
And look at Capital. Capital, I think Del Norte beat them. Under Ben Gomez, they're 3-3 in district. But Del Norte, we had said this. They had a signature victory a couple weeks ago. I think the younger Flores made a last-second shot and won the game. The sophomore, Daniel Flores, I believe, and they beat a team. So Del Norte is pretty tough too.
There you look at District 5. Los Lunas still the top dog at 5-1. Belen at 4-2. St. Pius falling to 4-3 in district.
Well, I think Belen and Pius still have to play each other. I'm not sure, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But the Sardins kind of, started out strong in that district and slumping a little bit towards the end of the year. But we'll see if Damian Segura can get them out of that funk.
We'll take a break. We'll close things out with 6A here on the Sports Desk in just a moment.
Carmody Medical provides solutions for your everyday needs. Hot and cold compression wraps provide therapeutic compression for the shoulder, hip, and knee. The therapy wraps are constructed of an insulated outer fabric and a ventilated cotton pocket to protect the body. Elastic belts allow mobility and deliver a gentle, adjustable compression. The reusable therapy packs can be removed from the pouch and placed into the freezer. Contact Jim for more information.
Hey, New Mexico, come check out the newly remodeled guest rooms at the new Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center, featuring 309 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space. New Mexico's only indoor water park featuring the Wave Runner. 2,200 square foot fitness center with hydro massage chairs. Also enjoy breakfast at our new Manzanita Grill and watch your favorite team play at Altitude Sports Bar and Grill. It's all at Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449. Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Here at the the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
And welcome back. I'm Scott Coletti along with Ed Nunez. Alden Ioane, our fine director. As we go into our final segment, we'll talk 6A boys basketball right now, Ed, and we'll talk the polls first. As we look at the 6A poll, we don't have the standings after all this week, but we will muddle through anyway. Las Cruces is number 1, El Dorado number 2, Atrisco 3, Volcano 4, Cleveland 5. You got to talk about Valley. They're number 6. La Cueva, another team you got to talk about at number 7. West Mesa, a team that's trending on the upswing, and they're number 8 this week.
Well, they play Valley tonight, Tuesday, and the show will air Wednesday. And you know what? It's a team that intrigues me. Scipio Mitchum, V. Hill, the guard, Molina, the forward. They've got pieces. They just, they haven't been able to put it all together. They did beat Albuquerque High last week. Albuquerque actually dropped out of the top 10 for the first time all year. They're number 11.
And that was after dropping a game that they could have won and should have won in the first meeting.
Yes, you're right about that. And then, of course, Valley guard Anthony Chavez stunned the Bulldogs at the buzzer last week with a shot off the buzzer before to win the game for Valley. And I think Albuquerque High went into that West Mesa game to give the Mustangs credit, give them credit with a little bit of a hangover, hangover from the loss is what I meant.
Well, I think West Mesa was a little more rejuvenated because they felt they should have had the first game against Albuquerque.
I think Valley and West Mesa tonight's a key game for the Mustangs. I mean, okay, you won one against Albuquerque High. Now, can you keep that momentum going, or are you going to go back to just a middle of the road
right.
team? So I think it's a big game tonight for West Mesa.
Now, the team that we got to talk about is the team at the top. The record going in, according to Manny Lucero, is 24-0 for Las Cruces. El Dorado's 20-2, Atrisco 20-2, and then you got 16-6 Volcano and 18-7 Cleveland.
But an 18-7 Cleveland team that all of a sudden has found its niche, fast breaking, scoring over 100 points, feeling very confident. Highland transfer Taylor Turner dismissed about 2 weeks ago from the team. A little bit surprised about that, but Coach Jimenez said, hey, it's my decision. That's what I wanted to do. But since then, when he got kicked off the team, they still scored 100 points.
Right.
So they have to feel good about where they're going. When you're playing well in February, Scott, it usually sometimes translates into good things in March, going into the district tournament and then the state tournament. So I think the Storm has to feel very good about where they are right now.
They close out their season, they being Cleveland against Volcano Vista, each team with one loss in district play. It'll be Cleveland's last game. Volcano has a game following up the next day on Saturday. So they still have a chance to win district with a win over Cleveland on their home court on Friday.
Don't go to sleep on them either. Jelante Gray, Parmenter, Andres V. Hill, Jarrell Phillips. Jarrell Phillips has given them a shot in the arm since coming back from that hand injury in January. So Greg Brown, he knows how to win. He's won a championship at Manzano and at Volcano Vista. So don't go to sleep on the Hawks either.
That's the game of the week, by the way, the MeTV game of the week. It's also the radio game of the week, so multi-covered. That game will be at Volcano Vista. And you know it's going to be a big-time crowd on a Friday night with district on the line, perhaps.
That's a real burning rivalry, and so yes, you expect there will be a very big crowd, no doubt.
Speaking of burning rivalries, it was kind of interesting. I believe it was Volcano Vista in Cibola that ended up having their game moved from Friday to Saturday because of an incident that happened a few weeks back?
Well, I had actually dinner with Cibola athletic director and boys head coach Ray Rodriguez a couple weeks ago, and he had talked about that, and he said really it was just kind of one person, not one, but kind of started on social media.
Right.
And it's a shame. He was, I think, he was embarrassed. Coach Rodriguez is an old school guy, man, real old school guy,
right.
And he hates stuff like that. He really does. It's not his fault. He didn't fight anybody, but he hates any kind of stain on the school. He hates that. And so they played at 1:30, and everything went good. They had security, APS security.
They actually toyed with the idea of no fans. And then they ended up backing off on that.
And I'm glad they did.
I am too, but I mean,
glad.
That's how bad they perceived it, that they actually were talking about having closed door with just officials, no fans, which I thought was interesting.
Right, and you know what? I've seen one of my official friends clear the gym before, so that's happened before. And I think one of the things is I'm glad they didn't do that. The student body from Cibola and Volcano Vista actually got together and had lunch, show of goodwill. Mm-hmm. There's no need for all these rivalries are good, yes, but to start fighting and vandalizing schools and that's just ridiculous. So hopefully cooler heads prevail going forward. Sure, you have a rival, you want to beat them, it burns in you. After that, you don't wish any ill will on anyone, I don't think. Yeah. We're all in the same boat here, so I'm glad the game went well, no incidents, and it was actually a very competitive game.
It was,
Volcano Vista pulling away at the end.
Well, when I think of Volcano Vista and Cibola, I think of the last two football games out of Community Stadium where they're having that pink dust going and one team's doing one thing and the other teams are doing the other, and it's all fun.
I remember you called that game.
I mean, the last two, where all of a sudden the pink mist comes out of one and it's gold mist coming out of the other, and it's, it's pretty funny, but it's all about just a friendly camaraderie kind of rivalry, and that's the way it should be.
Well, it's kids and their creativity, and they're having fun. And, they'll never be that young again because, they start to be 20, 21, you got responsibilities, bills, so have fun, enjoy it. And and there's no need to fight or there was and it's an isolated incident. It doesn't happen all the time. Let's be honest, it doesn't.
No.
So they took care of it, and the game went off without a hitch. And more importantly, it was a great game and very competitive.
Well, on another note on rivalries, a couple of weeks ago when El Dorado played La Cueva at La Cueva, it was their annual rivalry game, and it was kind of funny because La Cueva students came out in togas. And El Dorado fans came out, their student section came out with orange cowboy hats. I don't know where they got that from, but it was kind of unique. And, you had very innovative signs that were pointing from one team to the other that, it could have been perceived in one way, but they were making Brian O'Neill and myself laugh, so it was kind of funny. But then again, all in good fun.
When you talk about toga, I still think about Animal House and that movie. And,
that's what I'm saying.
We're old enough to remember that. Those kids, if you ask them about Animal House, they had no idea.
They have no idea what you're talking about, yeah.
I can envision what you're saying.
Double secret probation.
Oh, man. There's nothing that makes me smile more than kids and, exuberance, enthusiasm about being young. So just what you're telling me, it puts a smile on my face.
Well, seeing young men in togas, and they were, actively happy about being in the togas, so it was kind of, it's kind of cool to see.
And see, now they can post it on social media, take films, 20,000 hits. So it's a whole different era now.
Exactly. So final minute here, Ed. What do you see coming up?
Well, again, a lot of great district basketball nearing the end of the season. These games here, as a coach, I remember coaching, and man, you wanted to win those games, but you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket because the district tournament's coming up, things like that. So a lot of great events coming up on Proview Networks this week, no question.
We just had a drive-by by Josh Brown, by the way.
We only get those once in a while.
Yeah, so we do. So we got to mention them when we do.
Yeah.
Well, Ed, thanks as always, and we will do this again next week.
You bet, Scott. Always a pleasure.
He's Ed Nunez. Our thanks to Alden Iowani, of course, Josh Brown and Jason Poole. They keep this place together. Until next week, I'm Scott Galletti. We'll talk to you next week on the Sports Desk.